doing? My name is Thomas Richardson. Oh God. And I love wheat. I could talk about wheat for hours. I mean, I've been growing wheat for as long as I could remember, and my great-grandpappy was growing wheat, my pappy was growing wheat. It's been in my family for generations. We've been doing it for a long time, and I do believe it's in our blood. And wheat is just such an amazing substance. It really is. I mean, wheat is grown worldwide on more land than any other crop. And it's a close third to rice and corn for the most grown crop in the world. Would you believe that? I know. Wheat is just this miracle substance. It can be grown in harsh environments where it's really dry, and that's usually where it's grown, in these harsh environments that are dry and typically windy. Now, you can't grow corn or rice in those types of environments. It just ain't practical. Wheat is nutritious, concentrated, it's easily transported, it's high in carbohydrates and proteins. You can find a lot of minerals and vitamins in wheat. It really is a fantastic plant. Let's take a trip back to when wheat was first cultivated. Now, back then, 9,500 years BC, wheat was just different types of wild grasses, and these farmers back then, they would cultivate them, and they eventually started domesticating them as they chose mutated forms of the plant that had preferable traits. You see, the original species of wheat had a weaker rachis. Now, the rachis is the main stock of the wheat, and because of its weak rachis, the seeds that were a part of the wheat would easily fall off. Now, if you're a farmer and you don't have a lot of time to cultivate, you don't want to be spending all this time all whittly-nittly trying to pick up these seeds on the ground. So, over time, this plant evolved, and the rachis became stronger, and the stronger rachis kept the seeds intact on the plant. Because these seeds were intact on the plant, it was easier for farmers to cultivate the plant and utilize the grain, the seeds from the plant. Cultivation of wheat originally began in the Fertile Crescent. Now, the Fertile Crescent is this crescent-shaped area of land in the Western Asian region of the world. You can find Iraq in the area, you can find Palestine in the area, you can find Egypt, Syria, and a couple other countries. But this area was more fertile than a lot of areas on the planet when it came to the soil. So, it was easier to grow wheat in this area. And that's how it happened. Wheat was first domesticated for cultivation around 96,000 years before Christ. Yeah. And around 8,000 years before Christ, wheat expanded beyond the Fertile Crescent and started being discovered by other societies living in elsewhere places, Around 6,500 years before Christ, wheat began to hit areas like Greece, India, and Cyprus. And around 6,000 years ago, wheat began to be cultivated in Egypt. Now, Egypt was a fantastic society for the endearments of wheat. They were pretty much the first society to convert wheat into bread that we know and love today. You know, that nice, fluffy, delicious, delicate bread. And many believe it's because they accidentally mixed beer. They accidentally mixed beer with the flour from wheat. And this allowed it to have its fluffiness, per se. So, that is how bread came to be, thanks to the Egyptians. And you know, they've just done so much for society in general. Around 200 years before Christ was born, Romans started to use animal power to grind up the wheat. A few decades later, bakers became free men in Rome. And that was because bakers were considered such important assets to Rome, because baking bread from grain was an extremely important asset to the country when it came to food and nutrition. Between 1400 and 1600 AD, yes, we're making a huge jump in time. Between that time, windmills and water mills became very important in the cultivation of wheat in order to convert it to grain and other types of flours. You know, and around this time too, crop rotation came into play. Now, crop rotation, it's a pretty effective way of farming. Between the 1700s and the 1800s, the Industrial Revolution came into play. And because of this, the demand for wheat skyrocketed because of a skyrocketing population. Jethro Tull invented the mechanical seed drill, and this allowed for the cultivation of wheat to be much quicker, and the manpower for wheat dropped down dramatically. So, you know, it didn't take as much time to grow and cultivate this wheat. Today, crop breeding improvements, new machines and technology, and new and efficient fertilizers have allowed a higher yield production of this plant, as well as higher quality versions of the plant. Today, in the United States of America, you'll notice the two main types of wheat plants used are the hard red spring and the hard red winter. In the year 2000, there was about 21 billion bushels of wheat cultivation worldwide on 520 million acres of land. Now, folks, I just want to reiterate and remind you how important wheat is. I mean, it's used in so much. Without wheat, the global economy would collapse. Without wheat, everything would go into chaos. People would be dying by the billions. So we can't just give up wheat. So I want to thank you all for watching this documentary. God bless. Vote for Trump 2016 because he has the balls to make America great again. Thank you.